Okay, so this one I found to be exciting, because so my daughter was talking to me this morning and she goes, okay, but some souls, if they come in and, like say they die kind of young or something like that, they can just be a catalyst for the other people because we're all connected and we all have an effect on each other. So you could come in and just play this part to make this person learn this lesson. And I was just like, yes, yes, you got it. And, but then she said something else, and then it was, you know, but she seemed to understand that part. And so I was like, that is a thing about death and about tragedy, about what I was just talking about before, like why I wanted to talk about it, was because we do get caught up in things that feel tragic to us and think that this is all there is. This is it. This is life. And, I've just lost this or lost that. But when you start looking at life through spiritual eyes, and you start seeing, okay, so I lost this because there's a lesson attached and I need to learn about this lesson. I need to see what this is. And you start having these experiences and you start basing it all on the lesson and what you're learning and stuff, instead of being so affected emotionally with tragedy and stuff like that. It gives you a whole new perspective on life, and it makes life be so much less painful. So, even if it's, not true and we are just some weird accident and it's just somehow magic happens around us and everything, and we're just going to cease and to exist and turn into dust, and that's it. At least, you can be happy while you're here thinking about something good. Because I don't believe that at all. I believe 100% that we're just here having an experience. It's like we're here, doing a play. And there has to be somebody who's playing the bad guy. There has to be somebody who's playing the guy who's going to die. There has to be somebody who's playing, the healer, the saver. Like, there's got to be somebody playing all the parts to make the experience be what it's supposed to be, to learn and stuff. And there can be, a small group of people that you're going to learn from, or they could be a huge group. It just depends, because it's all fit together. And everybody comes in and plays different roles all the time, But once you start really wrapping your head around that and you start seeing, what things happen to you is for your own growth, it changes. It changes how you feel, but I mean, it changes like how painful something is, but it just changes your whole perspective on life and why it's happening and how it's happening and what's expected of you and stuff like that. Because to me, that's been just like such a confusing thing for so many people. And one thing is too is that so when somebody does something, because I was talking about this too, is when something happens that is a trigger for you, something happens. Oh, Stella needs him. Hold on. Okay. Oh my God, they come in so differently. Trixie's always like, she's Stella's sidekick now. But she's always just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, she's just so hyper. Stella just moves like slow, like a little hippo. But she has lost weight. Okay. So, anyways, if you have the soul, so if you're triggered by something, because, let me see how I can explain this. So, if something occurs or whatever, and then it affects you, then that is that is there for you to heal. So it isn't for you to get mad at somebody or think somebody needs to stop doing this or that. This person needs to change, or that person needs to change. It's just looking at that situation, seeing how it affects you, and taking it a little deeper. Go rest your brain on thinking about it and look deeper into why you make the decisions that you make. And, that is part of the healing. And it's usually it's a broader perspective. It's just seeing things in a broader way. And I was talking about this too with my daughter, is that one thing that you'll notice, because she was talking about something in her life, and then she's like, well, I wish my daughter, so my granddaughter, her daughter, she wishes that she could see this perspective of this certain thing. And I said, well, this is how I see it. Weirdly enough, if it is something that is important for her soul's growth, then it will happen. She will see it. If it has nothing to do with it, then yeah, it won't matter. She won't see it. It's for you. If it's supposed to be for her and she does notice, if she does judge it, then she has to go through the experience to see the perspective of why you would make that choice, but she gets to feel it by going through the experience and seeing like, oh, now that makes sense why she would do that. Now I see why she did that. It wasn't what I thought at all before I went through the experience. And I started noticing that when I was much, much younger, that if I ever judged somebody's experience, that I would always end up in a predicament to see what that experience really was. I had to go through the experience if I ever judged one. So I got to the point where it was like, oh, fuck, I don't want to judge that. I don't want to judge that, and I try and be very accepting of everyone's experience, because I definitely found a pattern. If you're judging someone's experience, you will live it at some point. You have to not judge other people's experiences. Let them make their own decisions, and, let them learn at their own pace. So, that's another part of the thing with, our soul's journey of experiencing itself and, expanding its consciousness and awareness. And expansion is knowledge, and knowledge is experience. And so that's, what we're all doing. And, so I was really glad when she put that together, because I think a lot of other people will start putting that together too. Like, super sad, so-and-so died and we're not going to see him anymore. But really, they're not dead. They're just going and preparing for the next play, or they're standing on the side waiting for you, or, a lot of times, like your dead relative may not be with you all the time, but you can easily call them and they will be right there. They will come to you. And, you might smell them, you might sense them, you might have something that moves or whatever. There's ways that you can start telling if you really can't tell. But most people can sense something. They're just, there's a lot of confusion with their inner senses because the manipulation to control our energy. So, that's why is getting in touch with your own inner voice is where you need to be guided by. That is, first and foremost, is to get in connection with that, because that is where you will find all your guidance of where to go. And that was another thing that she even said this morning, which I was really, really excited about too, was that she said that her guide, there was something she wanted to do and she would like it to go one direction, but then her guides told her, no, you need to do this other thing. And she, was kind of like, I know they're right though. But, and she could be like, oh yeah, I've been talking to them forever. But she's also the one who told me that there's no one talking in your head. And so, I don't know when she started really tuning in and listening, but that wasn't what I was excited about, because everybody's going to. I mean, everybody's going to get in connection with themselves. It's just going to be a process, a bigger process for some people than others. But when what I found exciting is just you know, the openness of being able to talk about that stuff. And, you know, I know you couldn't just go into any old group and talk about that. You would still be laughed at and told you're crazy and stuff. But for it to get more mainstream, you know, like, you know, my inner guidance told me to do that. I'd like to do this, but my inner guidance says, don't do that right now. Do this. You know, the more you connect with that, the more your path is going to feel a lot less rocky, a lot less treacherous. You know, like I've said, and my daughter and I were talking about it in our talk the other day in the car before I was constantly critiqued about this. That when you, sometimes I just gotta keep going with what I'm saying and don't even give any other thing. What was it? Because we were driving in the car, and it was something about with the souls and listening to your inner guidance. Yeah, but what was that yesterday? Listening to your inner guidance. So, anyways, I don't know what it was. Maybe it'll come back to me. But the more that you can get in touch with that and listen to your inner guidance, even if you don't want to go out and tell people, and you know people that will think that you are crazy if you think like that or whatever, you know, that is still where we're headed, you know. And the more I've even thought about the thing with telepathy and thinking about the words and stuff, and how much better it's going to be of a form of communication. Because I've really noticed, you know, talking to somebody who's in the other reality, is that the words, like, we use the words differently. We say different words. Like, you could say a sentence to somebody and it can mean something totally different than how you said it because of how they take all the words. So there's so much I don't know, there's so much manipulation with the words and the language, but there's so much miscommunication just due to that. So to me, with telepathy, it's going to be a lot more of a direct and a lot less with the chitter chatter, you know. And I still wish I could think of what it was, because I was talking about something with the soul. It was another thing that I thought, oh, that is really good too. With having insights into stuff with the soul. But the more that you can look at things through your inner guidance and life through a soul, as energy, as a being that is here having an experience, not just, you know, some thing that's going to cease to exist at the end of their life. So that I just feel like that's just going to change so much in people's lives. I just feel like it's so important for how people live. So, you know, I think that is really good. I'm going to do another one in a minute. I gotta, maybe I'll think of it, what I was going to say, because it was another thing that I thought was a good thing to bring up. But because when she said it, then when she says something, then it is good for me, because then it, you know, it gives you more insight of how other people are looking at things or what they're seeing. So that's why it's like, I find it interesting in our conversations, because they've definitely changed a lot. Oh my gosh, they've changed a lot since the beginning of 2020. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, you know, I just think it's helpful, because I'm sure there's a lot of other people who are having these experiences in communication with, you know, I mean, we're definitely in these two realities, probably more than that. So, okay, I'll be back in a sec.